it's Coach Tori, and this is Raising Runners. We talk running, fitness, mental health, and so many more topics. As the founder of a youth running program, I approach all of our conversations with our youth athletes in mind and kind of have a focus around those things. But as you will see, we are finding that all of these topics relate to runners and people who like to move and do fitness or anything like that. Relates to everybody. Check it out.
Hey, it's Coach Tori, and this is Raising Runners. Today, I am joined by one of the fittest people on earth, Tim Murray, and we're going to get to his interview in a second. I kept messing up the intro when we were chatting, so I figured I'd have to just record it by myself. So, I just wanted to give a little intro into him and what he does. So like I said, one of the fittest people I've ever interviewed. He is the 2-time fittest man on earth in the short stature category for CrossFit. And he's going to explain a little more about what that technically means. But then I realized as we're doing our chat today that I know CrossFit. He obviously knows CrossFit, so he explains CrossFit in a way I think that you would assume someone who knows CrossFit can understand. So I just wanted to give everybody a little bit, like a little intro into CrossFit because we are mostly a running podcast, and I think sometimes I forget that we don't all have the same cross training or strength training, knowledge that everybody else does. So I'm sure at this point, though, in the world somewhere you've heard about CrossFit. I just copied a little bit off of their site. What is CrossFit? So they describe it as constantly varied workouts. CrossFit prepares you for any physical contingency. Workouts are constantly varied and incorporate weightlifting, gymnastics, running, and more. You are guided by a coach. CrossFit meets you where you're at. Your coach will adjust the workouts to be appropriately challenging for you. As you learn what you're able to do now, you'll be rewarded with a new challenge to pursue next. So I always kind of thought about it as like competitive working out, whether you're competing with people in your class or you're competing with yourself. But it does combine like a lot of those like functional fitness ideas. So you're doing things with barbells, you're doing things with dumbbells, kettlebells, what else? Pull-ups, push-ups. There's running, rowing machines, assault bikes, lots of different things are all kind of combined, different gymnastics movements. So they really are combining a lot of things. I think people have also explained it as like, the whole functional fitness idea of like, okay, you see someone do a muscle up and you're like, well, that's not practical, but it's like, okay, you fall over the edge of a cliff and now you are hanging and you have to pull yourself up and over a ledge or something. I feel like that's not a great example because I'm also sitting here now doing the motion, which makes it feel like it makes more sense. But so that's CrossFit, right? Functional fitness, but it is all in a category under the name of CrossFit. And then I want to just so we also talk about some specific movements. We talk about double unders, and I don't think we ever fully explained. That is something with jump ropes. So a single under is like the usual jump rope motion that we know, right? You rotate your arms around, you jump over the rope once, you keep jumping, right? Double unders is where you jump over or you jump up off the ground and the rope is going to rotate around your body twice before you land back under the ground. So it's like you're doing a double jump rope, but it's not like double Dutch. So I feel like I'm also explaining that poorly, but Google it if you care. We talk about that. We talk about burpees. I think pretty much everybody knows what burpees are, but that's where you are lowering your body completely to the ground and then getting completely back up off the ground in like the simplest explanation. And then, we just talk a little bit about some other workouts, but again, it's things that either you probably have heard if you've done any kind of strength training or are easily Googleable if you have any interest in those kinds of things. But I did want to give some other information about CrossFit. I do not do CrossFit anymore. I am currently, anybody that knows, I record in my workout shed, which was designed when I still did CrossFit pretty regularly. And I still do a lot of those movements for my strength training, but I don't follow like a CrossFit programming or I don't belong to a gym. So I guess there is a special place for that kind of working out for me, but I'm not like super into it, as there are definitely people who are. So some interesting statistics I wanted to share about CrossFit, and then we will get into the interview, I promise. In a survey in 2020, 74% of respondents to the survey said that CrossFit has improved their mental health. Tim and I didn't really get to talk too much about mental health in our episode, even though we had definitely planned to, but we kind of just kept talking about other cool things that he's been up to. But the one big thing about CrossFit, and we do talk about this, is the community and everything that they do for people outside of just like helping them get stronger. I mean, lifting weights just makes people usually feel more confident. You learn that you're able to do more than you ever thought you could do. There's constantly a goal you can be searching for. I think most gyms try to help you find an appropriate goal, an appropriate weight, an appropriate workout, and that you're able to then track yourself. So you're comparing yourself to you or the past you. So I think it really does. There can be a lot that it can do to help people build confidence and with their mental health. So it is interesting to see that, again, it's all people who responded to the survey, but 74% said that through CrossFit, they've seen improvements in their mental health. It's in more than 120 countries. A couple years ago at the games, they did invite, I believe it was like 2 athletes from every country. Oh, I should say the structure of, and I don't remember if Tim and I talk about this. So CrossFit is something that people can go sign up to a gym, have a membership. They do it just like, Body Combat or any kind of other like workout program that you do, right? It just, you show up, you do stuff at the gym, and it can be like that for everybody. There also is like the World Championships idea for CrossFit too, called the Games. The CrossFit Games, it is presented by Noble. But how you get there is it starts with the Open, which anybody, anywhere can sign up for. Tim does talk about this. So there is a series of workouts that are released online. You're able to do them. You can either be more competitive and have to film them, or you kind of can just do them together as a group and everyone's doing it. You get to compare with everyone across the world. And then there are different levels from there of like top people go to a different kind of competition until you have all the top people at the games, which is like the World Championship. So there was a couple years ago where they did invite people from every country that participates in CrossFit, which was kind of interesting. There are efforts to increase diversity as well, and Tim and I talk about this a little bit. People who are helping with this, so CrossFit has sought out help from other organizations, but a few that are named are the Out Foundation, CrossFit DEI Council, and Dean CrossFit. So they are trying to, they acknowledge that there's not a whole lot of diversity in CrossFit, and they are working to try to change that. Something I've always noticed about it is to be a part of an actual CrossFit gym with the name, it was pretty expensive. A lot of people may not be able to afford it or just prioritize that is not something they can afford. So, there is some exclusivity there on is it attainable for everyone to do. I know there are some amazing gyms who have different kinds of like sponsorships or different ways that people are able to be a part of their gym without having to pay, these exorbitant amounts every month. But there, it is something kind of like running too, right? Like we say running is free, but you can end up spending a whole lot of money on running. Same kind of thing, right? It's like these functional fitness ideas are things that you can do with very limited financial resources. And when the pandemic first started, CrossFit did a lot of at-home workouts that people can do. And when I say at-home workouts, I don't mean like for people who, like me, have a CrossFit gym basically in their house. They had things that people were able to do with just like using their couch or using a broomstick or, milk jugs. So like they were really trying to be creative and help people access their workouts and the skills that they're trying to build with having nothing but whatever is in their home. So it can be something that you can do for a pretty cheap amount. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money, although obviously that is more of the norm with CrossFit. Another thing that's pointed out by a lot of the top athletes is the prize money is equal for both men and women. So both of those divisions, it is exactly the same. Again, can't speak to sponsorships, but they do try to have a lot of equality that way in CrossFit. They also have 16 adaptive divisions in the open. There's different age groups as well. And at least recently around me, I've seen that they have a course for teaching CrossFit to individuals with special needs as well. I believe it was mostly focused for the youth population, but they are trying to adapt their programming for that also. So they really do try to reach a wide audience and know that there's people are so different, and things have to be adapted for different people. And then Tim actually does explain this difference between adapting and then I believe he says modifying or scaling. So things are adapted for people with different abilities, different ages, different, all kinds of things, and then you can scale things from there. So there's a lot of things that you can change with that. So that was just my little spiel on CrossFit. It definitely is. It's a fun sport. People do really get into it. I think I make a joke to Tim that, people are always talking about it when they're involved in it. So I hope you enjoy hearing him talk about his journey into CrossFit, which is a little unconventional, I would say, and then all the cool things he's done since starting not a super long time ago. And definitely make sure you check out his Instagram and kind of follow his fun journey, because he does have some really cool things coming up as well. So check it out. Okay. Hey, Tim, actually, can you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about you? And it sounds like whoever your dog friend is there.
Yeah, he's all about himself right now. That's Cap.
Yeah.
I actually named him after Captain America.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, so he just turned 3 years old in May, so he's all about wanting the attention. He thinks he deserves a treat right now, even though he just had one. But he'll eventually calm down. But as far as for me, my name's Tim Murray. I was born with achondroplasia, which is a form of dwarfism. So it just essentially means that my limbs didn't grow as long as everybody else's over the course of my life, which doesn't change anything about me other than the fact that I'm just shorter than everybody. So 2 years ago, I started CrossFit. They announced that I've always been a competitor, playing baseball growing up, whatever it might be. And then just kind of dabbled in other things. As I graduated college, I tried out for the U.S. Paralympic team for shot put and discus. When I got out of school, I ran out of time to do the training, so I found just whatever avenues I could find, like it'd be whether it's softball, like with my friends. I play roller hockey still. So little Mighty Ducks action going on there. But after that, I dabbled in some kettlebell sport, which was a little different. A bunch of friends of mine were doing it, and I just was always a competitor, so I wanted to train for something specific. I want not just I tried the whole just train to be fit, but I have to have an end goal essentially. And so I did some kettlebell sport for a couple of years, and then COVID kind of hit and got away from it, and just did whatever made me just whatever I could do. But 2 years ago, the CrossFit announced that they were going to have a short stature division, and we were going to have a winner with prize money. So obviously I hear prize money and I'm like, okay, I'm in. And then they announced how much money, and I was like, oh, I'm definitely in. I mean, I get to train for fitness and possibly get paid for it. Okay, sign me up. So I started training. I would use just I'd find a local gym or something like a box, whatever you want to call it, and I would use their programming on their website to start. And when the open rolled around in February, I had to either go to a gym where they had coaches, like certified judges, to validate my scores, or I had to film my workouts and then send them in and wait. And I was like, well, I don't want to wait, like, because the suspense would kill me. Like, so it still does, because they still have to validate my score again. But at least I know going into it that my scores are, fairly legitimate. But so last year we made it to the semifinals. Like, they had a semifinal for us. We made it to that, and I ended up winning the semifinal. So our first year with the division, my first year competing, I won the games. And so ever since then, I've just kind of been involved with it some way, somehow. And after, um, like, then this year, they kind of cut back on some of the adaptive divisions. Like, they wouldn't let everybody come to the games. So our season technically ended after the Open, which I ended up tying for first again, uh, which is something that is very rare, because the way they do the scoring is you do event wins, like points, and then you go through and like find the event wins, like if somebody has a better score than the other person. So like if I go first, like third, fourth, and the other guy goes like first, third, he would have ended up winning because he had a better score at one, like on one of the other ones. But like we both had the exact same score, 2 first place wins, a second, and a fourth.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it was, but it's fun, it's interesting. Like, it just makes you a little bit hungrier later, like as you go, because now it's like, well, I don't want to share first place, but I'm not like sad that I won. Like, I'm still happy that I won, but I also like don't want to share, because we like sharing.
Right. It's right. Wow. Okay. I feel like you had like the least common start to CrossFit ever. I feel like people show up at a box and they're like, teach me CrossFit, and they have a coach and they fall in love with the community. And that's like why they're in CrossFit.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm going to do it by myself, get fit, win some money. So now are you part of a CrossFit gym now, or do you still do it all by
Yeah.
yourself?
I'm
Okay.
I'm part of a gym now. I actually I have a coach as well. She's over in the UK. She
Okay.
specializes in like adaptive CrossFit training, and so I started with her back in December or January, and like so just in time for the Open, and like we didn't really have enough time to really get into her programming, just enough to give me something to do, like to get ready for the as we went for the Open. But it's also nice to have her, because when I go and do the workouts, like they're all obviously, like with the Open, it's all online. Like everybody does it online, and submits their scores and whatnot. But like she would see my videos, I had the video to send them in, and so that way they could be validated. But she'd see them and be like, "You got to do it again." Which, the way the Open works, like they release the workout on Thursday and it's due on Monday. So it's like, okay, I did it on Friday. Now I have 2 days to recover and figure out how to fix what I was doing wrong. And
Right.
it ended up, honestly, one of the first workout involved a bunch of cleans and like toes to rings and things like that. Like, so a lot of very grippy, and I didn't do anything she told me to do the first time, so I ended up not getting a great score, and I wasn't happy with it. I kind of underestimated how grippy it was, and so I did it again on that Sunday, and I just I think I won that one. Yeah, I won that one by like 1 rep, which still counts, so that's all that matters.
Yeah. So especially for like the Open, like you're saying, and I feel like I'm probably gonna have to go back in the intro I re-record and explain CrossFit a little bit to people, because I realized like we just started talking and I know CrossFit too, like got into it, and I'm not gonna make you explain it. So for like the Open, especially where you have like the Thursday you do the workout and you only have a short amount of time to recover. I imagine like your body's not gonna adapt a whole bunch in that short period of time, but What do you do like mentally, especially to be like, okay, how can I make these small adjustments to have a better workout the next time?
That's actually a good question. I just I've always been an athlete. I've always been doing something. So like the mental game was always is kind of one of my stronger points. Um, I'm able to just like kind of shut it off when I go. So like it's not so much focusing on what I'm doing while I'm working out. It's more of the just remembering how to um like just remembering the small cues. So like if it's like a toes to bar, it's remember to put like pull back, like big tip, pull and kick, like flick up. If it's a wall ball, or remember you to get the full squat in, like and squat, just let the legs do all the work. Like your arms are literally doing like 3% of the work, and it's just to guide the ball up to the wall. So like things like that, like with the hang, like cleans, it's making sure my elbows come through. Like don't cheat to where you just flick it up a bit, and then like you're making sure those elbows come through. So like what I'll do, since I have the video, like she'll take small clips of it, screen record it, and send it over and say, hey, this is where I want you to be better. And so like, one was the wall walks, and my feet were hitting the ground before my hands came across the line. And she's like, well, you got to do it again. And which is fine. That's what, I mean, not to be that like not to say it like that, but that's what I pay her for. Like literally,
Right.
like she's there to make sure that I'm doing things the right way, doing it better. And I have one of the workouts. It was wall walks, double unders, and deadlifts. And I think there's may have been one more thing. And it was one of the one. It's like basically just you have, if you don't hit it in a certain time, it was the last workout. If you don't hit the first round in like 3 minutes, then you're done. But if you hit it in 3 minutes and you have 6 minutes, like a total combined 6 minutes to do the next round, which like they add more reps or more weight. And then the last one, it's like if you get that in 6 minutes and you have like 10 minutes, 9 minutes, whatever it was to get to the next round. And like I ended up finishing in like 10:49, and I was just like, oh geez. Like it's the first time I did it, I lost out. Like I didn't hit the, like I didn't finish it. And then this time, like the second time, I had enough people there to help me, like load my bar for me, which the looking over it through everything, she's like, you can have people load your bar. But it's just taking those little cues that she tells you, and like kind of I practice them over in my head. So if I'm off on, like if I'm working or doing whatever, like that's going through my head, like, and like I'll be actually walking around work, like flicking my wrists and like doing whatever it needs, like whatever it might be. She tells me to do, like I'll be doing it, and people are looking at me like, what's wrong with this guy?
Right. Kind of have to like live it when you're in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like they say, perfect practice makes perfect. And if you're constantly practicing, like you're just gonna have that muscle memory down, and when you go to do it, like it's just your body takes over.
Yeah. So your season ended technically with the Open this year. Do you have other, or did you have other competitions you were doing, or is it kind of just like, okay, the Open ends, now we just get to work training for the next year?
We actually have Wheel Wad. It's the largest adaptive CrossFit competition in the world right
Oh,
now. So we had an online qualifier back in April, and then a semifinal back in June. And we just got the invite came through to go to the finals, which is in person in Raleigh, North Carolina, and at the end of November, beginning of December. So the 30th through I think the 3rd.
okay,
So
cool.
I got that invite, so I was just getting ready for that. And then I signed up for Wadapalooza.
Okay.
I was one video away from going. Like my video didn't like go through, and so they couldn't validate my score. And if that score would have been validated, I won the event for my division, and it would have sent me in, because with Wadapalooza they only have 5 separate divisions, like adaptive divisions.
Mm-hmm.
So they paired me with like the upper extremity 2 points of contact, meaning like they have like the ability to have 2 points of like contact with a bar. So like they might have like something like their hand is disformed, or amputation just below the wrist type of deal, but they can still use like that whole forearm. And like one of the guys that's in that division like swept the games this year for his, like,
Oh my gosh.
he's done it like 2 years in a row. And so he was like, I beat him in that one, and I'm like, okay. And then like my score doesn't go through, and I'm just like, I missed out because the top 5 get invited, and then like I could have done like like bought my way in, but I was working professional hockey at that time, and our season is in January, so like I wasn't gonna do it unless I got invited.
Right. Okay. So you do have lots of other things going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so cool. And good luck at your, I guess November's kind of far from now, but
Yeah, but it's all good. I'll take all the luck I can get right
yeah.
now.
And then, so when is the open now? Cause I haven't done.
The open's it's in February, like end of February, beginning of March.
Okay. So will you then, like, after you said it was wheel wad, after that, are you then back to training for the open? Are you like, oh, he got jealous again.
Somebody's outside. I think somebody opened a door outside.
Oh man. Yeah, so are your sites still like on the open? Are you
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have any idea if they're going to just do it as the open this year or next year, or do you have an idea of how that's going to go?
Oh, they said we're supposed to be getting invited to the games.
Okay.
Like, so, which last, they said it was going to be in Madison, but then they also said that it wasn't going to be in Madison. So they're not saying where it's going to be.
Right.
Like, because they announced it during the games that it wasn't going to be in Madison. So I'm guessing, just knowing how that stuff works, that somebody said we can't get this rink or this venue again, so we need to, or they're going to upcharge. That's usually how that's something like that works when you're there.
Right. Okay, no, that makes sense. Well, that's exciting. I guess like moving on a little bit, hardest movement for you, either it was when you first started or even like now. I know at least for me, it was like the dumbest stuff. Like I still hate pull-ups. I can do them. I just don't like to.
Yes. For me, the hardest thing was always the double unders. Like when I first started, I was teaching myself. So I was watching videos of how to do them and whatnot. And I had this rope from Walmart that was just too heavy. And I would basically start with a single under, do a couple single unders, then get one double under. And I had no idea technique or anything like that. So like, I'm watching these videos and everyone's like, just do it this way. And I'm like, do it how? And it actually took it actually took me until like maybe a month ago to actually get it down. And I've had it ever since, and I'm not mad about it.
Right. They can actually tell you like what you're doing wrong, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah. Like I had this, like I was doing it weird. Like
I lost you at the end. So double under. Okay.
Double. And I got him like a month ago, and it was one of my friends now. Like I met him through the box, and he's been helping me like in person. And we sat there, like the whole workout was just figuring out these double unders. Because I was I knew I was close. I just didn't know what I was missing, like what little cue I was missing. And so the way I was doing it was I would do one double under, and then a single, quick single. One double under, quick single. One double under, quick single. So I'm doing twice the jumps. And we're sitting, I'm like, is it my hands slowing down or is it my feet? Like, what is it? Like, just I just want to know like which one is off, which one's not working. And he like we sat there and we worked, and he's like, just spin your hands. And so like I sat there and I did it, and I'd get like one or two in a row, and then it's got three, and the next thing you know, I rattled off like 20 without that extra little hop, and I'm like, wait, what? And he's looking, he's just
It just
smiling, he's
clicked.
so happy, like he's happy, I'm happy, like it was a great day of training. And so,
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
no, and
Oh,
like
go ahead.
so, like ever since, like obviously, like I have some fine tuning with it to work on, but like it's been just when I get it going, it's just like it's so fun. I'm like, this is like a party trick now.
Right. Yeah. That's like what's cool about CrossFit is you end up like being able to do like cool stuff that like not everybody can do like physically,
Yeah.
right? Now I will ask you your favorite movement, but oh no, I'll ask you your favorite movement. So what is your favorite thing?
Oh, it's gonna be one. It's something not everybody likes. It's honestly any form of burpee.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Why?
Um, because I figured out like a cheat code with them. It's the
All right,
best.
let's hear the cheat code.
I basically don't like set myself like set them, let myself set like slow to the low to the ground. Like I just fall to the ground.
You just fall to the
I
ground.
just flop.
Couldn't be me.
Yeah, I just flop on the ground and right back. So you don't have that eccentric load on the triceps, which to me is like always the part that slows me down last, like at the end.
Yeah.
Uh, because I remember one of the I can't remember if it's wheel wad. I think it was wheel. Did they have a wheel wad or the open? I can't remember, but there was like a bunch of burpees with wall touch. It like ours is like a burpee to a line, and with a shuttle run in between. And like I got to a point where I'm doing 50 burpees, and I'm just like my triceps were just on fire. And but like this that was my cheat code is like I just fall to the ground, flop, because all you got to do is hit the chest and the quads, and then right back up.
Wow. I mean, good for you because that does not sound fun to me. All right, maybe I'll try it next time. We'll see. Because that is like so exhausting. Like the hardest part about burpees is like those arms start burning.
Yep.
Like I
Oh
just
yeah.
can't keep going. All right, I'll think about it. So for people who aren't familiar with CrossFit, I feel like CrossFit is huge on like the community aspect of things.
Yes.
And I know in the past couple years, they've been trying to be more inclusive. Like you'd mentioned too. Was that something you looked for when you were getting involved in CrossFit? Like, were you looking for more community or were you just kind of like, this is a nice bonus, or you kind of just like, whatever?
Yeah, it was I that was definitely something I was missing was the community. Because obviously like coming out of COVID, like you couldn't go to a gym. If you did go to a gym, like you had to wear the mask, like you had to stay 6 feet apart, like you couldn't really talk to anybody. And just kind of the way I was just looking for this like-minded people. Like I went to a crunch and like it was okay, but like it still wasn't the same because everybody's in there doing their own thing. And like I wanted people that were like working towards a similar goal so that I could have somebody to push me, like I could push them, like kind of had that little competitive nature in the gym while working out. And I found the gym I'm at now, like it's New Cove CrossFit, Newport Fitness in Newport, Kentucky. It's right across the river from Cincinnati. We actually hear the fireworks go off when the Reds hit a home run. So that's kind of cool. Like we're that close. And but I went to them there for the 2022 Open because I was like, to I need this. Like I need someone to validate my score. I don't want to work on. And then like I went to a Friday Night Lights because that's what everybody does. Like they announced the workout on Thursday. Everybody does Friday Night Lights on Friday. And like it's a good time, like bunch of people, everybody's there hanging out, having fun. Like obviously you have the people who are serious about it. Then you also have the people who, are just doing it to do it. And we actually have a competition. I wasn't part of it last year, but this year I was. And we set up teams, we draft teams, and then whoever dresses up the most, like each night's a theme night. So like one night might be like jersey night, next night's like blackout night, and the other night's like just wearing something. I think it was Cupid themed because it was Valentine's Day, like Valentine's week. So it was like Cupid themed. And so we're sitting there, and just everybody's there having fun. I didn't get to go to Friday Night Lights this year because I was working. We had a game every Friday, but now I'm no longer working hockey, so I have a regular 9 to 5 type job with nothing to do as far as like no weekends, no nothing. So every Friday night I'm gonna be there, and that's what I live for. I just live for that atmosphere of, and then obviously started going to that gym, that box, and like hanging out with all the people, and like everybody's like awesome, like such a great community, like great people. So that makes it even better. Like I can just sit there like for hours, just talking to everybody, watching everybody work out after I do my workout, and just like having fun, enjoying things. So, I mean,
Yeah, sorry, I cut you off.
that's all good. You're good. So, I mean, it's definitely the community. Like, that's what's kept me around. Like, if it wasn't for that, like, I probably wouldn't be doing it anymore. I'd just be doing stuff at home in my basement or at like a Crunch. I still have a Crunch membership. So I'd probably still be doing it there.
Yeah. Now, okay, I have like 2 more questions, I think.
Okay.
Which one do I want to ask first? Okay, so I feel like the joke about CrossFit is always that people who do CrossFit always talk about CrossFit and they bring it up in every conversation. So like if you do CrossFit, somebody knows about it. What do you think it is about CrossFit that makes people who do it want to talk about it? If you even have an answer.
Honestly, like I don't think I don't think the people who are serious about CrossFit are the ones that are talking about it.
Okay, I like that take.
Because I think the people who talk about CrossFit are the ones who are like, yeah, I do CrossFit. And they're like trying to be impressive, like trying to impress somebody, like whether it's a guy, a girl, like whoever, like they're like, yeah, I do CrossFit. And it's like, so you do a bunch of workouts that everybody else does it could do too. Like, cool. like, it's just, I think that's what that is. It's just like, you go to a bar, party, like whatever, like gathering, and you're like, yeah, I CrossFit. And you're like, well, you don't look like you CrossFit, because it's always the person who doesn't look like they CrossFit that talks about doing CrossFit.
That's probably true. Like me, I probably walk around talking like, you sure you can lift weights? I like that answer. That's funny. And then do you have any advice for someone who isn't sure that CrossFit's for them, or like getting into fitness in some way, whether they just don't think it's adaptable for them, or they're just like, I'm not a fit person? Or do you have any, I don't know, words of encouragement for people who need some help getting started?
Just show up and try it. I mean, the worst that happens is you show up and you realize it's not for you, and you say, okay, I'll try something else. I will tell you, it's not as intimidating as some people will make it out to be, because people want you to be there. Like, people want you to get, like, be healthy, not necessarily fit, but like healthy. They want you to be healthy. So let's see, I think our attendance has grown. Like, I feel like every time I go to the gym, like there's somebody I don't recognize there. And so it's like, that's good. That's what I like. I mean, I also like to see all my friends, but at the same time, though, it's like, it's good that people are getting out and trying something new. Like, everything's scalable. Like, especially with us, like we have all sorts of options. Like, if you can't do pull-ups, we'll have you do ring rows. Like, if you can't do ring rows, then like we'll have you do like a bent over or something that does like very similar movements. Like, that's the best part about CrossFit. Like, I'm actually taking an adaptive CrossFit course, and it's the same concept. it's, it's not scaling until like you have to. So like, let's say, like for me, I'm not going to do a 135-pound snatch for part of the WOD because that's one, pretty much my body weight. And, two, like that's just asking for trouble, like at the end of the day. Like, so
Yeah.
I'm going to adapt it to where it's going to fit me. So my snatch is going to be no heavier than 95 pounds for a workout. Where, then if that's not good, and if so that's the adaptation. But if I need to scale it down from there, then that would be like my scaling. So like, yeah, we're sitting here like we actually, Wednesdays are our adaptive class. I helped get that started up, and it's like I look forward to Wednesdays every week because I'm like, we got our adaptive class tonight. Like, all right, let's go. And we last week we had 8 people show up, which we actually had more people than we had helpers. Like,
Oh my gosh.
if I'm bouncing around between like 3 people. Like I'm getting called over to this side, I'm getting called over to that side, and like, but like I loved it. Like I loved every minute of it because I'm like, everybody's doing this, everybody's having fun. Like let's go. Like this is what we're here for. And tonight wasn't as big of a class, but there's also a like I think there's like a stroke like gathering or some like I don't know what I want to call it, but like a meeting, like a stroke meet, like so for stroke victims, like there's a meeting for them. So they go and I don't know if it's like I kind of want to go just to see what it's about, but like so we lost like quite a few of those guys for tonight, but they'll be back next week. So that's what's like awesome. It just makes me so happy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It sounds like your gym is so cool and does a lot of really awesome stuff.
Yeah, we just did a little fundraiser. It ended this Monday, last Monday, and for my win, like my games win, they made a shirt with my picture on it and sold it, and whatever money we raise is going to go to purchasing adaptive equipment for our class because we've looked into quite a few things that we might need, and like it's not cheap, but I mean it which it's not okay, stop stop almost done.
Yes, you
Lay
are
down.
almost done, I promise.
It's lay down. I'll let you out in a minute. But so yeah, tonight we did that, and then and from there it's like if we have people coming in, like we might have some kind of amputation or a stroke victim who doesn't have use of one side of their body because you know they their stroke knocked it out of them. We find ways to make it work for them, and that's like the beauty of CrossFit is like we'll find if somebody wants to, they will find a way.
Yeah.
And like I think what a lot of people like, because I was one of those, like, I'm not going to do CrossFit because I see all the horror stories, right? Like, this guy did this because, he just did 500 snatches in a row and then he was expected to do box jumps. And then he fell, hurt his back, and now he can't do anything. I even think there was somebody who was like snatching and they put the box like not far behind him, and he went to let the bar down and hit the box and bounced and like broke his back. This was like maybe 10 years ago. And so like you hear the horror stories like that, but then you actually walk into a gym where they actually care about you and like they're gonna help you. They're not gonna let you get hurt.
Right. Yeah. No, that's so awesome. Well, Tim, thank you. Where can people follow you with all of the things you have going on, everything that's coming up we want to see? Where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram, um, Facebook. I'm on Twitter as well. My face, my, I mean, I've been pretty open about accepting people lately as friends. just because I'm turning it into kind of like a professional like page. But my Instagram is tatertot, TATERT0 or TOT 1195. And then my Twitter is tatertot, but it's T, capital T, the number 8, capital R, lowercase t, the letters 0, lowercase t. I think it's just, I don't remember the numbers after it right now.
That's fine. You can send it to me and I'll make sure I put it in notes so people can find it. Cause I'm like, as you're spelling, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like back in like when I was in grad school, like in 2009, I'm making this thing and I'm like, I don't know, like here's a bunch of numbers to throw together because the other ones wouldn't work. So I'm like, I gotta get creative now.
Right. No, exactly. Well, thank you so much. This has been so fun. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us and kind of enlighten us on some more CrossFit stuff.
No, I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you rate, review, subscribe, all the things that you can do for a podcast that you enjoy listening to. Make sure you check out social media, our website, any of those things. If you have questions, comments, interview requests, feel free to email me at maracuyrunclub@gmail.com.